Have you ever finished eating and thought, I wasn't even hungry? Or felt like once you start eating something, it's hard to stop, even when you want to? Today, I want to talk about something we don't hear much about more anymore, but it shows up all the time: gluttony. And we're not talking about this in like a shame-filled or extreme way, but just in these everyday patterns that slowly add up. Because for most women, this isn't a lack of discipline. It's about habits, stress, emotions, and patterns that have been built over time. And we're going to look at what's really going on underneath, how to start recognizing it in your own life, and how to begin shifting in a way that actually feels doable. And at the end, I'm going to give some very practical tips that you guys can start using right away. And as you're listening, if you're thinking this is me, but you don't know how to actually make the changes, you don't have to. Just set up a free call with me and we can talk through what kind of support you need to help you the most. You can find how to set up that free call at my website and all the different resources I have in the description of this podcast. Hi friends, and welcome to the Healthy Beyond 40 show. I'm Michele, mama of 4 and military wife, and I'm passionate about helping women get healthy from the inside out so they can feel better and live their best life. Do you feel like you're struggling to lose weight and get in shape? If you're ready to develop healthier habits, exercise consistently, and lose weight sustainably, then you're in the right place. I combine my expertise from my doctorate in physical therapy to my experience as a health coach, personal trainer, and yoga teacher to bring you actionable steps for a healthy lifestyle. No magic pill here, so lace up those shoes and get moving. So the idea for this podcast came as I have been reading this series of books to my kids, and they talk about the vices or patterns of sin that we have, and then what slashes that. And so these books are meant for kids. So it's The Dragon of Gluttony was the last one we just read. And so in this book, and it's coming from this very story-based way of talking about patterns of habits and sin in our life. So this dragon starts small, almost harmless. And over time, this dragon slowly gains power through comfort and through habits. So at first it feels like it's just a treat. I deserve this. One more won't matter. How many times have we said that to ourselves? But over time, it leads to this gluttony, this overconsumption of food, this letting something slowly take control, and it has more power over than you realize. And then you feel stuck and you have this regret. And so as we talk through this isn't about shame, because this feeling shame about this doesn't help us. It's about awareness. So gluttony isn't always just about food. It can be about comfort, the comfort food brings us. And it can also be about avoiding discomfort, right? So instead of feeling discomfort or doing something, we seek food for that comfort. So sometimes it's not just that you're eating too much, it's that food has become your go-to for how to fix things or how to feel better. And it can really grow in secrecy and justification. So, right, we justify our habits, we justify what we're doing, we avoid looking at them, and we say it's not that bad. And then things just, like a snowball going down a hill, things just pick up and get bigger after time. And so we can't make a change until we're actually honest with ourselves about what's happening. So we have to face it before we can change it. So if we're eating past when we're full, we need to face that. If we have constant snacking as a way to just keep ourselves busy, we have to face that. If we need something sweet every night, we have to face that. So you can't change that pattern if you're not willing to look at it. And a lot of times the root is something deeper. So this is different for everybody. So behind that overeating might be stress, it might be loneliness, boredom, exhaustion, just a lack of structure. So sometimes it's not like the food is the problem. There's like something under it that we need to face. And so we can have freedom when we start to face this versus when we keep avoiding it. And we have to do this from a place of, I can have compassion for why I do this, and I'm still going to take responsibility for it and work to change it. So it's really important that we have that compassion and kindness from ourselves because nothing gets better if we attack ourselves. Like today, one of my teenagers, he just tends to attack people or put them down when he doesn't like something. Like, oh, you're always a baby, you cry about that. Something like that. He is attacking that person. And let me tell you, it does not help that person change. So we can't do that for ourselves. So if we're going to attack ourselves, it's not going to put us in a place that makes us feel good and make us want to change. So we have to notice that self-talk that we're having, and it has to come from a place of compassion. And know that this doesn't go away overnight. For most people, it's slowly going to weaken as you pause, as you choose differently one time, maybe the next time you don't, maybe the next time you choose differently twice, as you build awareness. A lot of times it's not one big moment, it's not some quick fix. It's these small decisions and the strength that grows in you as you start to do this work. So some of us can find this hard because maybe we were taught to clean our plate. And we have some work to undo there so that we don't overeat. Maybe we've always used food for comfort since we were a little kid. Maybe we really never learned how to regulate our emotions and also have emotional resilience, where we can tolerate some of those uncomfortable emotions in a positive way. So we stay stuck. Instead of asking ourselves what we need to is, what am I actually feeling right now? What just happened before I wanted to eat? Am I hungry, or am I actually needing something else than food? What would actually help me right now? So when we can start to pause and dig through some of these deeper things, maybe we realize that we're stressed and we just need a break. As our schedule, my kids' schedule as a family has changed, on one night a week, my boys have flag football practice. They have like an hour break, and then they go to I think it's 2-hour basketball practice. So it's a long night, but my husband does this for me. And this gives me a break I need. And I'm introverted, so I love having the house to myself. So before this, I would sort of take a break outside of the house to try to get away because I homeschool the kids. It's just a lot being with them all the time. But the last few weeks, I've had this Monday to myself, like a good chunk of hours, almost 4 hours. I get to stay in my house. I usually have one work call, and sometimes I do a little bit of work, but it has felt so good to have this break. So, right, sometimes we need a break, or we have to do some problem solving to see, what do I really need? Maybe it's loneliness and you really need to find some connection. I struggle with that too, as being a military wife, and we've only been here for a year. It takes time, and it takes a lot of intention to build connection with people, because all the people around me have connection already. They've lived here and they have their friends. So I have to be intentional about that. Maybe it could be exhaustion and you need more rest, or an earlier bedtime. So as I've been talking, if you feel like you have tried everything and you still can't figure out why you keep going back to the same habits, that's exactly what I help women with. We sort of dig on the root, the deeper things going on, not just the food, not just a Band-Aid, not just a quick fix, but really looking at habits, patterns, stress, mindset, emotions. Because a lot of times, you really don't need more willpower. You actually need a plan that fits your life and can adjust with you. So if you guys need help doing this, set up that free call with me. It's about 25 minutes, and we just go over your goals, your struggles, see where you are, see if we're a fit for each other. It's a no pressure call, and I offer 10% off to military, to police, and those frontline workers. So just mention that on the call. Okay, so now I want to go into some practical tools. And as I'm doing this, you can't do them all. As I do coaching with people, we really figure out what they need first, right? I'm not going to start 4 different habits with somebody new. We're going to start with a couple habits and really narrow on what matters the most. So these are ideas, but I want you to think for yourself what you really need. What can you actually implement right now? What are you going to be successful with? Especially if you're doing this by yourself, I would only start with one thing at a time. And you have to keep that long range and goal. because it doesn't matter if you can do something for a few weeks, even a couple months. What can you do long term, and what is going to get you to that long-term goal? So number one is to pause before eating. This can be a really simple tool when you're so used to just eating and eating. Ask yourself, am I actually hungry? And you could do this throughout your meal to start to turn inside and notice your body cues. Notice what hungry feels like. Notice what really hungry feels like. Notice what content feels like. What getting 80% full feels like, and what full and too full feels like. Number two is remove mindless eating moments. So, for example, when you're scrolling on your phone, when you're standing, when you're doing something else, when you go to eat, majority of the time, sit down and eat intentionally. Chew your food. We all need to chew more than what we probably do, and that's the first step of digestion. Because it's easy to overeat when we are distracted. Next is make sure you're having enough protein and that you're eating a real meal, so that you're having some protein, you're having some fiber, you're having some healthy fats. So really look at what you're having, because, right, if we're not eating, protein and fiber really help to make us more full. And if we're not eating real food, which is more filling, then we're going to a lot more easily grab the sugar, grab those quick carbs, that stuff that isn't as healthy for us. And so with clients, this one varies a lot exactly what it is, but start to create some gentle boundaries for yourself. For example, like, I don't snack after dinner. I sit down when I eat. I don't eat straight from the bag of chips. I pull out my portion size. So these vary for everybody, what that thing is for them. But we need boundaries. We don't need a ton of boundaries, and we don't have to be super crazy strict. But usually if we are feeling like things are out of control, it means we need some boundaries for a time being. Another tip is address the real needs. So instead of just eating the food, really asking ourselves what we need. What would happen if I did a walk here instead? What would happen if I just stepped outside? What if I texted a friend? What if I took a break? Like, what is that real need that I need? And start playing around with that. Again, that one is very different for everybody, what that actual need might be. And then another one, if you're not aware, just watch for your comfort eating patterns. So maybe that is night eating. That seems to be a big one. Where the evening comes, like, it's sort of like this stress letdown, and you want that comfort of eating. Maybe that reward eating. Maybe that stress eating during the day. Whatever that is, notice what that pattern is and start to become aware of it. Because first you just need awareness. And once you really get that awareness and you start to notice what's going on for you in those moments, then you can start to problem solve. All right, so I hope this was a helpful episode for you guys today. And I encourage you that if you are feeling stuck and you've tried some things but you haven't tried coaching, reach out and see if it is sort of what you need to move things forward. All right, friends. So stay healthy and keep moving.